Getsuga Tensho.
What is that? What is that form he's taking?
Coming up first on the list is the captain of the 6th division and a serious contender for some of the nicest hair in anime, Byakuya Kuchiki. Seriously, look at the mane flowing behind him. They didn't recruit him for just his looks though. Byakuya is a powerful soul reaper, and as cool and collected as it gets, rarely losing his composure and his elegance. He's the kind of guy who probably ends every single email with regards. Byakuya's power is unbelievably cool in a series that is just cool powers all the way down. Senbon Sakura transforms his blade into 1,000 tiny blade fragments, unseen to the human eye, but reflects light in such a way like cherry blossom petals. Beautiful. Byakuya is such a master of the blade that he wields these thousands of little fragments like an extended long-range sword, and as the series progressed, he just got better and better with it. Coming up next on the list is the captain of the 13th division, one Toshiro Hitsugaya. While Captain Hitsugaya might look like a cute little kid with a Zanpakuto that's too big for him even, but he's a serious force to be reckoned with when it comes to soul reapery. He's been through a whole lot. Seriously, you read a list of all the things this guy's gone through. He has been put through the ringer and back over the years, but it's never quite enough to stop the guy. He was a child prodigy, boasting a surprising intellect, and his Zanpakuto spirit is pretty darn cool. Hyoranmaru is the strongest ice type spirit in the entire series. He can control water and ice, and when he slashes with his blade, he creates a flow of ice in the shape of a dragon, which is pretty much one of the coolest things a guy can do, ever. He can do all sorts of wild stuff with his ice power, making his ice into armor, claws, and he's also probably pretty handy at making ice sculptures if it ever came down to it. Urahara Kisuke is probably one of my favorites on this list. Now, it could just be a personal bias, because I'm pretty sure I could pull off a cosplay of this guy next to no problem. But aside from looking just a little bit like him, I just love a guy who is a wild card and unpredictable. And that's Urahara down to a T. First of all, I love that he runs a convenience store where he sells Shinigami stuff. Man's gotta make a living on the side, I guess. Gotta get paid somehow. Second, I love that despite looking like a slacker pushover, he is a master swordsman, a genius level intellect, a brilliant inventor, and I have not even started talking about any of his abilities yet. His Benahim is incredibly versatile. He's a jack of all trades, but instead of being a master of none, he's kind of actually just a master of everything. Benahim lets him create blasts. He can make shields, he can make nets, he can make energy loops, he can make bombs, he could probably make a pretty good cup of coffee, he can even effectively reshape the environment that he's fighting in. It's no wonder he was considered one of the top 5 special threats to the Wandenreich. Never underestimate a laid back appearance. Except me. You can underestimate me all you'd like.
Alright, so we got another laid back guy here. Next on the list, Shunsui. Sometimes the seemingly laid back, chill dude in the room is actually one of the most dangerous. That's certainly the case with this former captain of the 8th division. It's easy to look at him at first and think he's, probably not that solid of a fighter. He seems unenthused by it, for starters. But when push comes to shove, he shows quite a lot of fighting prowess. We first see this when he was super reluctant to fight Chad, who was just relentlessly coming at him. And he was like, dude, just chill, relax, have a drink, before ultimately being forced to incapacitate him. And it's then that you realize, oh, this guy just feels like, he's got better stuff to do. Like he wasn't even trying in that fight. He just can't, really be bothered. What really shows just how incredibly powerful this guy is his Bankai though. It's one of the weirdest ones to describe, but when released, its special ability forces his target to act out this old Japanese tale. It brings it to life essentially. There are 4 stages, each representing a part of the story. First, any wound either inflicts on the other will also be inflicted on the attacker. Next, black spots appear on his opponent's body, causing them to just bleed uncontrollably. Not that you can never really control your own bleeding, but anyway. Stage 3 sees the two hurled into a massive sea of water where his opponent begins to drown, and finally, Shunsui wraps a thread around their neck, pulling at it and causing their head to ultimately explode. So there, that all makes sense, I think, right?
Number 4, Aizen. If Aizen saw this list, he would probably be livid that he was not put at the number 1 spot. He believes himself to be the only worthy successor of the Soul King. Of course, it's kinda hard to tell him he's wrong, given how incredibly powerful he is and how he came damn close to wiping everybody out altogether. He was even offered a spot by Huabak, but he declined the Quincy's offer, preferring to carve out a path on his own. I like that, independent. He's a master manipulator, able to deceive the Soul Society for decades. So it only makes a lick of sense that his power allows him to alter how your 5 senses perceive the environment around you. Yeah, this guy can get his inside your head, make you smell things different, make you see things different, make you hear things, can't trust yourself. His hypnosis is flawless. Even if you know it's coming, or you know you're under the effect of it, there's really not much you can do about it when he's in control of the battlefield. I mean, you can go in knowing he's gonna do all this nonsense, but he can still hide himself and distract you with decoys while he attacks you decisively. How are you supposed to deal with a guy like that? Although he was eventually imprisoned by Urahara, there's no doubt that he was one of the most powerful Soul Reapers in the series and one of the most impressive enemies the gang ever had to face. Finally, our boy Ichigo. Wouldn't exactly be a fair list of the most powerful Soul Reapers if Ichigo wasn't on here. I know some of you were already itching, waiting to find out where he was going to be on the list. Well, here he is. Now, there's a pretty good argument to be made that Ichigo is the strongest Soul Reaper in the series, and I fully expect it in the comments down below. But the only thing holding Ichigo back for us is that while he is incredibly powerful, I mean, he's the main character, that kind of comes with the territory, he does struggle to contain his abilities sometimes. Like, for example, he loses control of his Ryatsu easily before mastering it over time, but he's still pretty crazy powerful. He's part hollow, soul, human, and Quincy, and he's got a ton of powers and abilities hidden away inside of him, some of them he didn't even know about. Ichigo's cut down some of the fiercest opponents ever in Bleach. I mean, he defeated Yubak. That's gotta make him one of the most powerful guys ever.